For years, fans of American Pickers watched the bond between Danielle Colby and Frank Fritz grow into something that felt more like family than friendship, which is why Danielle's emotional silence over Frank's struggles left so many people wondering what was really happening behind the scenes. But now, after months of rumors, heartbreak, and unanswered questions, Danielle has finally spoken out, confirming the painful reality fans feared all along. Her words carried more than sadness. They carried regret, loyalty, and the weight of watching someone she deeply cared about fight through one of the hardest periods of his life. What makes this moment so powerful is not just the revelation itself, but the raw emotion behind it. In an industry filled with fake smiles and scripted drama, Danielle's honesty felt painfully real, reminding fans that fame cannot protect anyone from loss, broken friendships, or personal battles. The story is no longer just about television. It has become a deeply human reminder that even the strongest connections can be tested by time, pain, and circumstances beyond control. The moment Danielle Colby finally broke her silence about Frank Fritz, longtime fans of American Pickers immediately realized this was not another ordinary celebrity update. For years, viewers had watched the chemistry between the cast members turn the show into more than a simple hunt for antiques. The series became successful because of the friendships, jokes, disagreements, and emotional moments shared on screen. Frank Fritz was never just another television personality. To millions of fans, he represented authenticity. He was funny without trying too hard, emotional without pretending, and relatable in a way many reality stars fail to be. That is why his sudden disappearance from the spotlight created so much speculation. Rumors began spreading across social media, fan forums, and entertainment channels, with many people wondering whether the friendships shown on television had fallen apart behind closed doors. Danielle's silence only made the mystery feel even bigger. Fans searched for answers for months, hoping someone close to Frank would finally reveal the truth about what had really happened between the former Code Dash stars. As the rumors continued growing, many viewers began noticing how different the show felt without Frank's presence. The energy had changed. What once felt natural suddenly appeared incomplete. Frank brought a unique personality to the series that balanced the humor and business side of the show perfectly. His passion for collecting rare items and his emotional attachment to forgotten history connected deeply with audiences. Unlike many reality television personalities who appear overly polished, Frank felt genuine. He reminded people of someone they might actually know in real life, a friend, uncle, or neighbor with stories to tell and hidden pain behind the smile. That emotional connection is one reason fans became so invested in his personal struggles. When reports about his health issues, loneliness, and personal battles started appearing online, many viewers felt heartbreak rather than simple curiosity. They were not watching a celebrity scandal unfold. They were watching someone they had emotionally connected with for years slowly disappear from public life. Danielle's eventual response carried enormous emotional weight because she had always been seen as one of Frank's closest allies. Throughout the show's history, viewers watched the playful friendship between Danielle, Frank, and the rest of the team become one of the series' strongest elements. Their interactions felt unscripted and real. Danielle often acted as the emotional bridge within the group, balancing humor with honesty. So when tensions reportedly grew behind the scenes, fans naturally wondered where Danielle stood in the situation. Her silence became almost as talked about as Frank's absence itself. Some believed she was protecting private matters, while others feared the relationships had become too damaged to repair. That uncertainty created a cloud of sadness over the show and its loyal fan base. When Danielle finally addressed the situation, her words felt less like a press statement and more like an emotional release that had been building for years. What made Danielle's comments especially powerful was the pain behind them. Rather than speaking with anger or bitterness, she appeared deeply emotional and reflective. Her words suggested that the situation surrounding Frank was far more tragic than dramatic. Many fans expected shocking accusations or explosive revelations, but instead they heard sadness, disappointment, and concern. That honesty changed the tone of the entire story. Suddenly, this was no longer about gossip or entertainment headlines. It became about human struggle, broken communication, and the emotional cost of fame. Danielle seemed to acknowledge that the people audiences watch on television are not protected from personal battles simply because they appear successful on screen. Behind every episode, every laugh, and every adventure are real individuals carrying private pain the audience never sees. One of the most heartbreaking parts of the situation is how quickly life can change for someone in the public eye. Frank once appeared to be living a dream life, filled with travel, adventure, and loyal friendships. Millions watched him search barns, garages, and forgotten buildings for hidden treasures across America. But over time, signs of personal struggle slowly became impossible to ignore. Reports about health problems, isolation, and emotional hardship painted a very different picture from the cheerful television personality fans remembered. Danielle's words seemed to confirm what many feared, that Frank had been facing battles far deeper than viewers realized. Her honesty reminded people that mental and physical health struggles often happen quietly, even when someone appears happy on the surface. The emotional reaction from fans after Danielle spoke out showed just how much Frank still means to the audience. Social media quickly filled with messages of support, sadness, and nostalgia. Many people shared memories of watching the show with family members over the years, explaining how Frank's personality had become part of their lives. Others admitted they never realized how emotionally connected they had become to the cast until hearing Danielle's emotional comments. In many ways, the situation revealed something powerful about television itself. When viewers spend years watching the same personalities, those people stop feeling like distant celebrities. They become familiar faces connected to personal memories, routines, and emotions. That connection is why fans reacted so strongly to Danielle's words. To them, this was not simply news about television stars. It felt personal. Another reason the story became so emotional is because it exposed the darker side of fame. Many people assume television success automatically brings happiness, stability, and strong relationships. But Danielle's comments suggested the opposite can sometimes happen. Fame can create pressure, misunderstandings, distance, and emotional exhaustion. Relationships that appear perfect on screen may quietly struggle behind the scenes. The audience often sees only edited moments designed for entertainment, while the real emotional battles remain hidden. Danielle's honesty gave fans a rare glimpse into that reality. It reminded viewers that public success does not erase personal pain. In some cases, it may even make private struggles harder to handle because millions of people are constantly watching and judging. For longtime viewers, one of the saddest aspects of the situation is the feeling of unfinished friendship. Fans spent years believing the bond between the cast members would survive anything. The chemistry felt too strong to break. That is why reports of separation, silence, and emotional distance felt so painful. Danielle's words appeared to carry regret, as though she understood how much had been lost over time. Sometimes friendships slowly fade because of circumstances, misunderstandings, or personal struggles nobody fully understands until it's too late. That possibility made the story even more emotional because many people related to it on a personal level. Almost everyone has experienced losing contact with someone they once cared about deeply. Danielle's emotional response seemed to reflect that universal human pain. There's also something deeply tragic about how quickly public opinion can change during difficult times. When Frank disappeared from the spotlight, rumors spread rapidly. Some people criticized him without knowing the full story, while others created dramatic theories about what happened behind the scenes. Danielle's comments helped humanize the situation again. Instead of turning Frank into a headline or internet mystery, she reminded audiences that he's a real person dealing with real struggles. That shift in perspective mattered because it encouraged empathy rather than judgment. In today's entertainment culture, people often forget that celebrities experience loneliness, fear, illness, and emotional pain just like everyone else. Danielle's emotional honesty helped bring that reality back into focus. The story also sparked conversations about loyalty and forgiveness. Fans began debating whether old friendships could still be repaired despite years of distance and conflict. Some believed Danielle's words sounded hopeful, while others felt there was sadness in realizing certain relationships may never fully recover. That emotional uncertainty gave the situation even greater depth. Life rarely provides clean endings. Friendships become complicated. People grow apart. Misunderstandings build over time. Danielle's response seemed to acknowledge that painful truth while still expressing compassion for Frank's struggles. That balance between honesty and empathy is one reason so many viewers connected emotionally with her statement. As more people discuss the story online, Many started revisiting old episodes of American Pickers with a completely different perspective. Moments that once seemed funny or ordinary suddenly carried emotional weight. Fans noticed the chemistry, laughter, and connection between the cast members more deeply than before. Some viewers even admitted they felt emotional watching old scenes, knowing how much had changed since then. That nostalgia became a major part of the public reaction. The show represented a simpler time for many people, and Frank's presence was central to that feeling. Danielle's comments reminded fans not only of what happened to Frank, but also of how much the show itself had changed over the years. In the end, Danielle Colby's decision to finally speak out did more than answer fan questions. It transformed the entire conversation surrounding Frank Fritz. Instead of focusing purely on rumors or controversy, people began focusing on compassion, friendship, health, and emotional struggle. Her words carried the sadness of someone who clearly cared deeply about a person facing difficult circumstances. Whether friendships can ever fully heal remains uncertain, but Danielle's honesty reminded audiences that behind every television story are real human emotions that continue long after the cameras stop rolling. And perhaps that is why this story affected so many people. It was never truly about television drama. It was about lost memory, regret, and the painful reality that even the strongest bonds can sometimes break under the weight of life itself. What makes this entire situation even more heartbreaking is the silence that existed for so long before Danielle finally spoke. Silence can sometimes say more than words ever could. Fans noticed that the people who once laughed together on screen suddenly seemed separated by distance, pain, and unresolved emotions. Every interview, every social media post, and every public appearance became heavily analyzed by viewers searching for hidden meaning. People wanted reassurance that the friendships they watched for years were still real. Instead, they were met with uncertainty. That uncertainty slowly transformed into sadness because audiences began realizing that something serious had changed behind the scenes. Danielle's eventual honesty felt like the emotional release fans had been waiting for, but also confirmed that the damage was deeper than many originally believed. For Frank Fritz, the public attention surrounding his struggles likely became overwhelming. When someone is facing health problems or emotional hardship, dealing with private pain is already difficult enough. But doing so while millions of strangers discuss your life online creates another level of pressure entirely. Every absence becomes a headline. Every photograph becomes evidence for speculation. Every rumor spreads faster than the truth itself. Danielle's comments seemed to recognize how painful that reality had become for Frank. Instead of treating him as a celebrity story, she spoke about him like someone she genuinely cared about. That emotional sincerity is what made her words stand out from the endless gossip circulating online. Many fans were especially moved because Danielle did not appear interested in blaming anyone. In modern entertainment culture, public conflicts often become loud, dramatic battles filled with accusations and anger. But this situation felt different. Danielle's tone carried sadness rather than revenge. She seemed more focused on the emotional reality of a situation than on creating headlines. That maturity gave her statement far greater emotional power. People could hear the pain behind her words. It sounded like someone reflecting on years of friendship, memories, and difficult changes that nobody truly wanted to happen. Sometimes the saddest stories are not built around hatred or scandal, but around relationships slowly falling apart despite people still caring about each other. Another painful element of the story is how it reflects the loneliness many people experience later in life. Frank's struggles connected with audiences partly because they felt real and relatable. Many viewers understood what it means to feel isolated, misunderstood, or left behind as life changes. Watching someone who once appeared full of energy and humor suddenly face serious personal difficulties created a strong emotional response. Danielle's comments seemed to acknowledge that reality openly. Rather than pretending everything was fine, she recognized the emotional weight of what Frank had been enduring. That honesty resonated deeply with fans who appreciated seeing genuine human emotion instead of carefully controlled public relations language. There's also a tragic irony in how a show built around preserving forgotten history eventually became connected to fears of losing important relationships. American Pickers was always about finding value in things people overlooked or abandoned. Week after week, viewers watched the cast rescue memories hidden inside old buildings, rusty collections, and dusty garages. In many ways, the show celebrated emotional connection to the past. That is why the situation surrounding Frank feels especially emotional. Fans are now looking back at old episodes almost like treasured memories themselves, trying to hold on to something that no longer exists in the same way. Danielle's emotional words only intensified that feeling of nostalgia and loss. The reaction from longtime viewers proved how powerful authentic personalities can be in television. Frank Fritz was never the loudest or most glamorous person on screen, but people trusted him because he seemed real. He made mistakes, showed emotion, and spoke naturally instead of trying to sound perfect. Danielle shared a similar authenticity, which is why fans believed her when she finally spoke out. Audiences today are surrounded by polished celebrity images and carefully managed public statements, so genuine emotion stands out immediately. Danielle's honesty cut through the noise because it did not feel scripted. It felt human. That emotional realism is rare, and it explains why her words spread so quickly across fan communities and social media platforms. AS discussions continued online. Many people started reflecting on how fragile friendships can become over time. Life changes people in ways nobody expects. Success, health problems, misunderstandings, pride, and distance can slowly create walls between even the closest friends. Danielle's comments seemed filled with awareness of that painful truth. There was a sense that she understood how complicated the situation had become, but also how much history and emotional connection still remained beneath the surface. That emotional complexity made the story far more powerful than ordinary celebrity drama. It reminded people of their own broken friendships, unresolved conversations, and regrets they still carry years later. Some fans also began questioning whether fame itself contributed to the breakdown of relationships behind the scenes. Reality television often creates enormous pressure because personal relationships become part of the entertainment product. Arguments, emotions, and friendships are constantly exposed to public opinion. Over time, that pressure can change how people communicate with each other. Private disagreements become public discussions. Emotional wounds become headlines. Danielle's emotional statements seem to hint at how exhausting that environment can become for everyone involved. Even strong friendships can struggle when millions of people constantly analyze every interaction. Despite the sadness surrounding the situation, many viewers found something hopeful in Danielle's honesty. Her willingness to speak openly about pain and emotional struggle encouraged compassion rather than cruelty. Instead of fueling more rumors, she reminded audiences that healing and understanding matter more than drama. That message resonated strongly because modern entertainment culture often rewards conflict and outrage. Danielle chose vulnerability instead. She allowed fans to see genuine sadness and concern, which made the story feel more meaningful and respectful. The emotional impact of the story also comes from the fact that many fans grew older alongside the cast of American Pickers. Viewers watched these personalities for over a decade, connecting them to different chapters of their own lives. Some remember watching the show with parents, siblings, spouses, or friends who are no longer around. Because of that, hearing Danielle speak emotionally about Frank felt deeply personal for many people. It was not just about television. It became connected to memories, family routines, and moments in the past that audiences themselves missed dearly. As more details about Frank's health and personal struggles became public, sympathy for him continued growing. People began seeing him less as a former reality television star, and more as someone fighting difficult battles largely out of the spotlight. Danielle's words helped reinforce that perspective. She reminded audiences that compassion matters, especially when someone is struggling physically or emotionally. In a world where public figures are often mocked during difficult times, her empathy stood out powerfully. The story surrounding Danielle and Frank ultimately became much larger than fans expected. What started as curiosity about cast drama evolved into a deeply emotional